A lot of you have been seeing very warm conditions the last several days are going to turn back to the cooler side over the next few days, and this cool down is going to cause problems from more severe storms from the Mississippi Valley to the southeast to the potential for the frost and freeze in areas that have hit the growing season. In this video, I've got everything you need to know, so stick around.
One Nation Weather.
As always, I am so glad to have you here. Don't forget to check out the WeatherBell trial link down below in the description to get maps just like the ones we're about to start using for the pattern overview. Also hit that subscribe button right here at One Nation Weather. Turn on the notifications so you never miss a forecast that I produce. But let's get right into this, taking a look at future radar like we always like to start out with. The trusty old European model showing that over the next several hours and as we head towards our Thursday, April 18th, at the 4 to 5 a.m. time frame here, you can see some showers and storms, maybe from northern Michigan, but especially on over there towards parts of New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, the Long Island region. Those will continue heading eastward throughout the day. That's part of the system that's been producing severe weather the last several days from the central to the eastern United States. But this area that I just drew the lines for, that's a cold front, and we've got a new low pressure system bringing the potential for late day severe weather here on our Thursday and into our Thursday night from Illinois, Missouri, parts of western Indiana, and Kentucky, western Tennessee, back down through Arkansas, into parts of Oklahoma, Texas, northern Louisiana. So we've got a lot of states in the bullseye getting the potential for some stronger storms. You can see as we head towards our late Friday, some stronger storms maybe banking up against the Appalachian Mountains, heading towards the southeast and towards the coast from there. Also some showers and storms developing very late Friday and into our Saturday there over parts of Oklahoma, Texas, and eventually by the time we head towards our Saturday afternoon, a lot of rainfall over parts of those states that I just mentioned, even on over there towards Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. It's going to be a pretty wet day. Lots of precipitation to track there as that's yet another low pressure system forming really on the bouts of one low that's been on up in Canada for quite a while here. Still some showers and storms heading towards the east and probably through parts of Alabama, Georgia, the Carolinas, and North Florida as we head through Sunday, and then pushing off the coast from there and maybe a little bit more of a dry spell to start early next week. But let's talk about severe weather in depth here. There's timestamps in the description if this isn't for you, but taking a look at it as we head through our Thursday, towards our Thursday evening, we've got a cold front here. You can see it literally on the map, stretching from parts of Illinois back on down there towards Texas. We've got at least a marginal severe weather risk from parts of the Great Lakes region all the way back down to Texas, level 2 from Texas all the way up here to Illinois and Indiana. Then we've got that level 3 of 5 enhanced zone to track in St. Louis, Missouri, Mount Vernon, Illinois, all the way on down there to Clarksville, Tennessee. We will be watching some of these zones for tornado potential as well, and let's kind of look at those areas with the highest percentage of around 5% from the Storm Prediction Center. Could this go up? Yes. I don't think it will because this is mainly a wind-driven threat, but nonetheless, if you live in Effingham, Illinois, down to Mount Vernon, Carbondale, Cape Girardeau and Poplar Bluff there in Missouri. Then as you head there into Paducah in parts of Kentucky, that's where the highest tornado threat is at 5% within 25 miles of a point, which if you think about it, that's not a extremely low chance, and it's certainly something that you need to keep in mind as we've got the low-level jet weakening as it heads towards this area, but certainly at least existing with some, 25, 30, 35 knot readings here, and some of those will strengthen as the evening rolls on over some of the tornado risk zone areas. So it's something we'll be tracking for sure. You can also make out exactly where our warm front is going to be. You can see that pushing on up through Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky during the afternoon Thursday. Back down there towards Oklahoma and Texas, we're going to be having a lot more storm energy there closer to the cold front. But again, I think that's why the hail threat is higher there. When you kind of get the meeting of the cold and warm front closer to Missouri, southern Illinois, that's where the highest tornado and overall severe weather threat for damaging winds as well is going to be. Now, let's time this out here with future radar from the HRRR model, my trusty model that I normally go to for severe weather. During the morning, we could already have some showers and storms left over from our Wednesday night, pushing through parts of Iowa, northern Missouri, into parts of northern Illinois. Could Chicago get some rain? Yes. If we get any severe weather out of this, it could be from Columbia there in Missouri through the north-central parts of the state. I think that's where isolated wind damage could occur up to around 60-mile-per-hour gusts out of these storms. Probably going to see the evolution of whatever is left of those storms through the day turn into a little bit more of a line. Some new development as well back down there towards parts of Oklahoma City and areas eastward into northwestern Arkansas. Pretty much that's going to be the story of the day, new development and some of the lingering clusters. You could see some of those, I think some of our peak storms towards 6, 7 o'clock Central Time in the evening from parts of Jefferson City and St. Louis there in Missouri and surrounding zones. Look at some of these storms. You can see that bow segment there in southern Illinois. This is just a simulated radar, but you can certainly see why we'd be looking at wind, hail and some isolated tornadoes out of these lines moving through. And then you can also see all the way back down there again through southeast Oklahoma, far west central parts of Arkansas, and then on down there into parts of north central Texas along that dry line in the cold front. We'll also be watching, I think we could locally even see some 2 to 3 inch hailstones further back down towards the southwest, something the Storm Prediction Center might need to consider as we get closer there for an upgrade. By the way, the risk zone on screen is for your damaging winds, and it's 30% within 25 miles of a point in that area I just circled on screen. As we head towards the late evening hours, I think that's when we'll see some of the worst storms push through that area, and again, that is where the enhanced risk zone is Thursday and into Thursday night. Storms weaken eventually as they head towards the southeast, but we're still going to have that cold front draped up against the Appalachian Mountains as we head towards Friday afternoon, bringing a level 1 of 5 marginal threat. As of now from the Storm Prediction Center, that goes from pretty much north central Alabama in the Birmingham area to Atlanta, Georgia, Greenville, Columbia, and South Carolina, Charlotte, Raleigh, Durham, all those areas there in North Carolina getting in on this, even heading towards the Outer Banks. My One Nation Weather Severe Scale goes from 0 to 7. I've got up to a 3 and 4 out of 7 on my scale in a few different zones as we head towards Thursday and Thursday evening. Severe weather appearing probable, especially over eastern Missouri and southern Illinois, where I think locally maybe a 70-75 mile per hour wind gust couldn't be ruled out. Obviously, we'll be watching the isolated tornado potential there as well. So if you live there in southeast Missouri, southern Illinois, I've got my eyes on you, especially as we head towards late Thursday into the evening. Also watching that local, very large hail threat there into parts of Texas. That's why I've got a 3 of 7 on the scale there. And just kind of that middle ground 2 of 7 in southeast Oklahoma, western parts of Arkansas. Then as we head towards Friday and Friday evening, these are going to be daytime heating-induced storms, especially there over parts of Mississippi, Alabama, North Georgia, the Carolinas. Again, 2 of 7 on the scale there for wind and hail out of those storms. Probably wouldn't be seeing a tornado at this point in the storm system. Also watching late night development Friday night over parts of the Red River Valley there in Texas and Oklahoma. Now moving on past storm systems here, let's talk about temperature anomalies. It's looking like it's going to be below average in the temperature department over parts of the north central United States as we head towards late Friday and even as we go towards Saturday, especially over Montana, the Dakotas, Minnesota, 5, 10, 15 degrees below average on Friday. By the time we head towards Sunday here, this is around 10, 11 o'clock in the evening that this particular model is showing for, but just overall throughout the late day Sunday going into our Monday, it's going to be below average here over the Mississippi River Valley, heading eastward to the Ohio River Valley, heading towards the East Coast as well as we head into early next week. And you can notice some of these cooler shots of air could continue into the East Coast at least, while other areas might try to rebound as we head into next week. Now let's talk about temperatures day by day, kind of break it down. Thursday morning, April 18th, 2024 in the morning, with the cold front here that's bringing that severe weather risk, we're going to have some record warm lows indicated by those circle temperatures there. So if you live there in parts of Arkansas, and especially in eastern Texas, Louisiana, some of these lows in the 60s, even the low to mid 70s, nasty, muggy temperatures here, summer-like air in place, even there towards the Carolina coastline there, in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, on over there towards the Outer Banks of North Carolina, record warm lows to start the day. Meanwhile, we've got 20s on over there in Montana surrounding zones as that cold front is going to be bringing that cooler air through those areas. You can see towards our Thursday afternoon, very warm. This won't last forever, but you can see plenty of 80s, even stretching on up into southern Illinois, southern Indiana, parts of southern Ohio, and of course all the way along the southern tier, plenty of mid to upper 80s to go around. There into parts of southwest Texas, we're going to be watching some isolated locations that could try to top on out close to 100 degrees. So some crazy stuff there. Very dry heat in some of those zones. By the time we head towards our Friday, April 19th, 2024, in the morning, here's what you're going to be waking up to over the southeast. Plenty of 50s and 60s. Notice that we're starting to see a frost and a freeze move on down into South Dakota, Nebraska, northern Kansas, into Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin as well. Even towards places like Chicago, starting around 40 Friday morning. So it's going to be cooling down some more. Some of these areas that are starting to hit the growing season as well. You can notice that more as we head towards Friday afternoon, only staying in the 40s over some of the same zones that wake up in the 30s and 40s. And then down there closer to the Gulf Coast Friday afternoon, still keeping it warm. That's going to change towards the end of the weekend, but it's in the 80s here from Texas through Louisiana, southern and central parts of Mississippi and Alabama as well. Here we go towards our Friday morning. Notice the corridor of cooling temperatures. We've now got the frost making its way towards parts of central Missouri, central Illinois, central Indiana, trying to get at least down into the low 40s and approach that frost threshold, which is in that mid to upper 30s range. Notice on the high Saturday afternoon, all these areas in the blues, I mean, you're staying in the 40s for highs. That's pretty chilly. In fact, record cold highs there in parts of northwest Texas. Some of the same zones pushing record high temperatures just 2 days before. That is insane. Record low highs 2 days after record warm highs. Where it's still going to be record warmth as we head towards Saturday afternoon is in southern parts of South Carolina, southern Georgia, and there into parts of Florida. By the time we head towards Sunday morning, yeah, I know we're going through a lot of days. Sunday to start the day, all these areas and some of those pink shades freezing to start the day, so over a lot of the north central and Great Lakes region. Notice towards the Ohio River, it's going to be pushing the frost threshold there. Down closer to the Gulf Coast, that's where you're going to find some of the only 50s and 60s, excluding southern Nevada and parts of Arizona. Same goes for the heat on Sunday afternoon. A lot of areas closer to the Gulf Coast being the only very warm areas. It's still going to be pretty mild, though, with 60s to go around over a lot of the central Ohio Valley regions of the United States. So overall, this isn't an extreme cool down, but the nights are going to be just cold enough it could interfere and mean that you'll need to cover that sensitive vegetation. Look at this Monday, April 22nd in the morning. Down there in the parts of north central Tennessee, could we get to a frost just north of Nashville? Maybe so. Especially through the Ohio Valley, though, and into the northeast. Definitely one of the colder mornings there. With a frost and a freeze into the northeast, back on towards Idaho, Montana, very cold Monday morning as well, with a freeze there. And then look at this towards Monday afternoon. I think we're going to begin the rebound and start to see most areas, excluding the far northeastern United States, rebound. Plenty of 70s to go around, starting to fill back up the southeastern U.S. as well. 60s into the Ohio Valley. Monday going to be definitely a transition day back towards warmth. And that's what's in the 6 to 10 day pattern. Look at this, the Climate Prediction Center showing from April 23rd to April 27th here in 2024, well above average temperatures being anticipated there in those oranges, those reds, even that pinkish shade there coming off the front range of the Rockies there. So something we'll be certainly watching very closely with ridging there. And once you get a ridge, once you get the warmth to return to the plains, that's once you start to get the potential for severe weather, tornado threats. Yeah, those start to fill back in. So even if we get a little bit of a lull in overall severe weather activity as we head towards the early part of next week, by the end of the week, could start to see things get interesting again in some zones. In addition to subscribing to this channel, if you're not already, One Nation Weather, you can subscribe now to my extra page. Even if you're an existing subscriber here, you haven't heard of this one yet, it's ONW Beyond. Link down in the pinned comment below. It's where I plan to put severe weather coverage on the day that a storm hits. Just a quick update, unedited, very quick update in the morning or the evening that you can just tune into if you live in affected areas. That's it for this video. Hope everyone stays safe as always.
One Nation Weather.